this is our Wheel of Doom segment. Basically, we got a bunch of topics on this wheel right here, and we are going to spin it, and whatever it lands on, we're doing like a 10-minute round table discussion on it. Try to put some castle. Try to so the first what's this Castlevania? Try to put some controversial topics on here to get the pot stirring. Let's shuffle these entries up, give it a whirl, see what we got this week. Oh, it almost landed on
Oh,
the Castlevania
uh,
one too. We got, was the N64 controller genius or the worst design ever? Dun dun dun.
why do I
It
keep
looks like a
freezing?
it looks like a trident, right? I guess that's the big everyone's like, how are you supposed to hold this controller? I wish I had
Right.
one handy to whip out. Who's got an
Yeah,
N64 controller?
I do not because I don't own an N64. And I think it's because I feel like the N64 controller is
There you go.
trash.
There it is.
Look at that
Tell
unit
us
right
about it,
there.
Keith.
I don't know why they went this direction. I know they were trying to be innovative all the time. It's got those 2 handles on the outside with a handle on
Right.
the inside. Why they didn't just put this little joystick somewhere I could operate it instead of having to hold like this and then press these buttons and miss buttons? I don't know. I think it's a swing and a miss in my opinion. It works, but it's not. There's better versions that you could use, I think.
And what's funny is I've gotten new I think it's Retro Fighters put out a new version, and it basically just looks like, a modern controller where you got your thumbstick, where it would normally be now. I guess that was just Nintendo being Nintendo, right? Kind of
Mhm.
trying to come out with something wild. I mean, I guess it got people talking, right? Be like, "Oh my god, did you see the controller for the N64? What's the N64?" Maybe that was part of their marketing where it's like, let's just go with it. I can see some inspiration. If you guys did catch last week's Wheel of Doom, we discussed the Virtual Boy. And the Virtual Boy controller, very similar in shape, and it had two D pads where you would hold here. So, them going to the N64 controller, which came out months after the Virtual
Mhm.
Boy, almost similar design, right? They just added that weird trident like thing going on.
I mean, for me also as a kid growing up, I'm a little guy. I'm only like 5, 6.5. I felt like I had little hands, and that was a big controller, right? And like I had mentioned last week, I don't have a ton of coordination in my left hand here. So for me to kind of like move my hand around and do all that stuff, I that's why I was never into N64. I never got into it because of the controller. So I'm not a
Fair enough.
fan. I'm not a fan.
I will say so the question is, was the N64 controller genius or worst design ever? I will say they hit the mark with coming out with different color controllers of
Yeah.
these controllers.
Mhm.
That was marketing genius for sure because you wanted to buy more than one. You're like, okay, it came with a gray one. Wait, there's a black one? You could get a clear green one and a clear
Mhm.
orange one. Like that made you kind of want to seek it out more, be a little bit more unique as a gamer. You're like, oh, you go over your friend's house. Oh, you got a purple one? You got a dolphin blue one or whatever the heck the colors were. Watermelon red. So I feel like they definitely hit the mark with that and for good marketing purposes. Got kids talking. Oh, did you
Mhm.
see the color of this? Like rather than them talking about the bad design, right, of it.
Yeah.
They probably, I don't know, as kids growing up, probably weren't complaining about the design. It was different, yeah,
Mhm.
compared to PlayStation 2 would be. I'm trying to think
Right.
compare when
The f
when it came out.
Yeah. The
But
well, s Go ahead.
I will say with David's argument, he said, it being so big, I don't know where the timeline is, but the original Xbox controller it's actually called the Duke. It's huge. So compare that to an N64 controller, I feel like about on par. Although the
Yeah, I think
placement of the thumbsticks were better.
right. I think moving your hand around to it, like, based on the gameplay of it all, and I know N64 was, they were pushing the 3D elements, right? So you needed to kind of have something to turn your cameras and stuff like that. Um, I never played the original Xbox. Was the N64 controller the first one with a joystick? Like in
Oh,
time?
good call. Yeah, with like an analog stick, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, besides Atari and all that stuff, you know?
I feel like it might have been.
Yeah, because the first PlayStation did not have it, and didn't they release the Virtual Boy because we talked about this, because they wanted to compete with something in between for PlayStation and Xbox coming out? So I'm wondering if they created that controller and that was the first kind of joystick, and maybe PlayStation and Xbox got it from Nintendo.
Well, I mean, you did get the Dual Shock on the PS1 later on, right? They added the little
Okay,
nubs with
they
that.
did.
So you had that, and when PS2 came out, that was standard to have on
Okay.
that.
Was that post N64 then?
That I don't know offhand. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a thinker. Is did Nintendo kind of originate or bring back the joystick?
right.
So that's kind of innovative in itself. I I'll give Nintendo credit for that. I think it's just the layout of the design and also catering it towards kids who probably have smaller hands than most people, you know? Well, all people, I should say,
Oh, people.
you know? So I don't think that it was I mean, if you're talking about it missed the mark, right? But it is still pushing the envelope, so it's sort of genius, but didn't really pan out too well.
I'm bringing up my video. I actually turned one into a shifter knob. I'm like, better shifter knob than controller? Maybe, because it's so massive. So,
Got the rumble pack in there.
right. If you guys want to check that video out, just put in N64 shifter Russ Lyman. Um, Actually worked out pretty good as a shifter, I'd say.
Not too bad.
I used it that way, like holding it like where the thumbstick would be or gripping it at the top. I feel like you had more room there for it.
What do you
But
think, Keith?
Was it good or bad? I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite controller. I don't know if
No.
that's the direction I would have went with it. It's probably not the worst controller out there, but it's definitely not the best.
so it
You in
doesn't
agreement?
yeah, it doesn't get the tier, I think, as worst controller, whether it was genius design controller genius, I don't know. We're touching on, maybe because of it had the analog stick on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely leaning towards some innovation for sure, and it got people talking about it, the
Mhm.
colors and all that. So I know people like to rag on it, but I think we're all in agreement. It probably wasn't the worst controller of all
No,
I
time.
mean, we're still
definitely not.
talking about it 30 years later.
Right.
So there you go.
There you go.